Welcome to what is normally the Genesis of a Doctor podcast, but this time we're just going to be briefly talking about the recent Doctor Who news. I'm Joy.
And I'm Tris.
Yeah, so the big news came out that, the Christmas special has been cancelled for this year, and also that Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf are out as producers, and the show has been put out to tender, looking for new producers. In what is going to be our episode of the podcast releasing on Saturday, we were hoping it was more positive news that was coming soon.
RTD presented it in a way that sounded optimistic, like it was going
Yeah,
to be good news. So we were like, oh, yeah, so it's probably like, a good update on what's happening to the Christmas special. So sorry in advance for when you watch Saturday's episode and you hear us speculating on that because, oh boy, were we off.
yeah. It sounds like the Christmas special never really got very far into development, which is disappointing.
It's so strange because RTD on his Instagram almost like proudly declaring let's see what the exact quote he said. For the record, there was no script. I never wrote it, and no actor was ever approached to play the next Doctor. You may disagree. Fine. Sit in that chair and wait to be proved right. You'll wait a long time. Like, there's a lot of like aminosity in that.
Yeah.
I
To
think
me,
that's him crashing out over how many like fake leaks there have been since the start of the year.
yeah. To me, he sounds very bitter there, which makes me wonder maybe he was fired. That's
I
what it
mean,
sounds like to me.
various reports, both the actual press release and also like various reports that came out from behind the scenes with all this, says it was like a mutual agreement between all three parties to split away. But I have to imagine it's not all good feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's also weird because like didn't RTD tease like three words to keep in mind for the Christmas special when they announced the Christmas special?
Yeah, he did do that a while ago. And
And then like Marie Gold and others have been in interviews and they're like, yeah, I recently like saw stuff about it and like it's looking like it's coming together really well. So like what happened there? Maybe
yeah.
they were all just pitches and not actual scripts, and
Yeah,
the
because
BBC turned down every single one of them.
I think what Murray Gold said specifically was that he heard Russell T Davies had written multiple scripts for the special, which the optimistic reading of that was that like it was like how Moffat approached Day of the Doctor, where there were multiple scripts based on like will Billy Piper be in it, will David Tennant be in it.
Oh, what actors they can get? Yeah,
Yeah, but I guess the truth of the matter was probably he kept writing different pitches, and then the BBC kept rejecting them, and then
yeah.
he just keeps having to go back to the drawing board. That's probably what was happening.
Yeah, that's probably what it actually was. So when he says there was no script, he never wrote it. He probably means an actual approved pitch for a full script. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so messy though, right? Like I know there's been people presenting this in a more positive light, including RTD himself. Like, oh, listen, this is actually a good thing because you'll be waiting for more Doctor Who and not just a one-off. But like, we kind of already knew that would be the case with the Christmas special. The expectation everybody had was that the Christmas special was going to wrap up his second era, essentially, tie up all the
yeah,
current loose ends, and essentially give it a nice bow to hand off to whoever gets it next, even if there was going to be a wait. So I understand that, yes, oh, now it means there's not just going to be a single one-off before Mystery. Now it's just Mystery. I'm like, I don't think that's quite as positive as you're making that out to be.
yeah,
Because now we'll never know, right?
yeah. I guess the good news here, though, is that the BBC has said that they are very committed to making a new season at some point, and
Right.
technically that's the first time they've said that in the last year. So technically that's good news, but we were always hoping that eventually it would show up again, anyways.
Yeah.
And really, all this is saying is that those conversations haven't started yet, which means earliest the show comes back is 2028.
Yep. Because if you figure this is them essentially now saying conversations that are going to start, competitive tender details are going to be coming out very soon. if you imagine that process goes until end of this year, and that's being generous, you then go through the actual production process in 2027 to then have something in 2028. And that's a
Yeah.
generous estimate right there.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we're looking at closer to an earliest of 2029, to be honest. I don't see them locking in something till this time next year.
Yeah. I will say for context, like the CBB's spin-off of Doctor Who, they announced that was being put out to tender in June of last year, and then December was when they chose the studio to make it. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
at least half a year for that decision to be made. I
Yep.
feel like it might take longer because you're going to want to be like more certain that whoever takes over the main show will bring it back in a good way.
Yeah, and there's all these reports currently going on too that like especially in the the short time after the Disney fallout, not a lot of people want to take it right now. It sounds like
Yeah.
behind the scenes, it's it's one of those. It's such an IP to work on that should be the highlight of anybody's career to be able to work on that, but it is also so risky to do that it could be
Yeah.
career ending also.
Yeah.
And that sucks that it's in that position, frankly.
I feel like there's also just the issue that like anybody that takes over the show is going to know that they're going to have people online that hate their guts no matter what they do. Because,
Yeah.
people know the names of the Doctor Who showrunners because they hate them so strongly.
Well, the showrunners were also made very like front facing and public with the
Yeah.
revival, which wasn't really the case of the classics. But
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the complicated issue of like it's kind of left in a spot where you have a lot of questions you need to answer.
which they won't. I I
Yeah.
I feel bad for Billie Piper, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bringing her in and putting her in that position that even she will never have the answer to. Because I really think what they should have done is ended on Shooty regenerating ambiguously, and we never actually see who he regenerates into, because that makes it
Yeah.
so easy for anybody to go pick it up at that point, right? To go pick it up, and you don't have to show from that very moment. You could just show a new doctor, and through dialogue, through presentation, you can imply that's the next one, and they've been the doctor for a while.
Yeah. I feel like when you look at the fact that they posted that regeneration like the minute that the show aired, I feel like they were expecting everyone to love that idea, and then when the internet's reaction was that everybody hated the idea, then
Yeah.
that definitely made them go like, okay, maybe we don't want to have her running a Christmas special or something, because it might hurt the brand more than it would help it
But
at this
that, but
point.
the sad thing is that actually would have done well, because at least it would have been an explanation. You would have had an adventure for
Yeah.
it. What was so frustrating about it is she regenerates and then like stares into the camera and says hello directly to the audience. Is that it felt so tongue in cheek, out of out of style for what the show usually does. That
Yeah.
it it felt like RTD himself walked on screen and said, "Guess what's happening?" And that doesn't make sense in the context of the show.
Yeah. I feel like the best way to move forward will just be like to do what the Ninth Doctor did and just be like,
Yeah.
it's been X amount of time, and we're just not going to really worry about what happened before. I guess theoretically they could maybe just do like a mini-sode where Billy Piper is there and then you explain where the new Doctor comes from, whether it's Billy Piper regenerates into them or Billy Piper like is Rose Tyler and then has to get back home or something.
They're gonna what they're gonna do is they're gonna repeat the Romana 2 regeneration sequence, and that's why Billy Piper's there. It's the Doctor just picking a face really
Yeah.
comedically and really really poorly.
Unfortunately, the issue though is that whoever the next production team is, they're not going to have the TARDIS set, so
No,
they won't be able to directly continue that scene, no matter
no.
what they want to do. Yeah, I
Which,
think,
I mean, that's fine. We've had the TARDIS randomly change, even if the Doctor didn't regenerate within it sometimes. We've had
yeah,
that quite a bit of time, so that's not that bad.
I think the easiest way to do it is either to just not address it or to just do like a Night of the Doctor thing where it's a five
Yeah.
minute short that you release online, and then it starts with
Make
Billy
it
Piper and ends
make
with whoever the next Doctor is.
get RTD to come back to just do like a short like Children in Need thing. Just like or like a Red Nose Day thing. Like just like some of
Yeah,
like the little shorts they do that are like 5 minutes long. You can still bring it back in with Billy Piper. You can literally do like what they did with the Davros one with the Daleks, and it's literally like a
yeah,
5 minute thing in one room. Just do that and have make like a funny play into why regenerate to Billy Piper, and then make Billy Piper start regenerating. There you go.
yeah.
That's all you need.
Because yeah, they haven't torn down that set yet, so they could just quickly film something.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how willing they are to do that.
Right now, I don't think they're willing at all, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of sucks that Russell T Davis clearly had like a probably like a 4 season arc he wanted to do, and then now none of the questions are getting answered.
Yeah. We're probably never seeing Susan again. Unless they make
Yeah,
Susan regenerate. We're never seeing Susan again. Poor Carol Ann Ford.
yeah,
Because by the time they would get to it, she might be too old to properly come back to it.
yeah. Because we're not getting back for another 2 years minimum.
At least. Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it kind of sucks that they're like in the Russell T Davis era. There's so many like retcons that are just a single line of dialogue, and then now we're never going to have an answer to any of them. Like Susan's parents aren't born yet. We're never going to get an answer to that. That's just
Nope.
we're just going to ignore that.
Now,
By generation, we still don't know how that works, and we're never going to get an answer.
all we had were theories, like characters giving theories, and that was it. And that's all
Yeah.
we're gonna get there. What's also really unfortunate too is the way, like yeah, like all the unanswered questions like sucks. But like when you think about the fact that like everyone expected after Chris Chibnall's era, everyone expected RTD to start retconning certain things from his era, which was kind of foolish to think.
Yeah,
And he didn't, and he actually ran with them, and that's good. That's building out continuity. However, with what's happening with the show now, I actually wouldn't be surprised at all if they start looking to retcon certain things
yeah,
as a way to bring it back. And I don't like that because I think the show has always been something that you can have contradictory info or you can directly go against something from before that isn't necessarily contradictory. It just shows like who knows with the universe. There's a lot of uncertainties and there's ways they can go about it that feel natural to the show. And I think it's unfortunate that retconning is probably going to be what happens because there is not a smooth transition between production companies and studios and executives this time around.
yeah. I feel like the probably the best course is to just kind of not address any of it, rather than go out of your way to contradict it. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll just not talk about any of it and just don't worry about it.
What's
Because I feel
probably
like
going... Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
the issue everyone has said that Russell T Davis's era had was that it was way too deep in the weeds of lore and everything, and I feel like
Yeah.
when they come back, they're just going to want to not do that, which means they're not going to address anything that isn't
No.
necessary.
No. When this comes back, we're gonna see at least the first 2 seasons with no unit, no reference to previous companions. Maybe at best there's one episode with Alex or Cyberman. I think we're
Yeah.
genuinely gonna be looking at series 1 and 2 from 2005 and 6 all over again in terms of presentation and how it's handled. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of excitement that could be had from that, especially since the people that would be most passionate towards doing that are going to be the people that grew up with that era instead
Yeah.
of like RTD, the people who grew up with the classics. So it's going to be another revival of the show, one way or another. I think it's unfortunate that it's probably going to have a rough start either way. I want
Yeah.
to be optimistic, but where we're at right now, until we get that information, until we see anything towards it, it's really tough to do so.
Yeah. And ultimately, we don't really know what the show will look like, because it might
No.
not be like a season. They might not do like seasons like they have in the past. Maybe they'll do like, worst case scenario, they'll have it like Sherlock, where you get 3 episodes every
Oh
2 years
God.
or something.
Don't give me that. Oh God. I was talking to
But
my
yeah,
husband about this since the news broke, and we were coming up with like what a good future for the show will look like. And he was telling me he really believes what they should look to do with the show is essentially like structurally make it like tokusatsu over in Japan with like Kamen Rider and all that, where it's like basically like classic Doctor Who, where it's filmed year round. It's a guaranteed job. It's locked in, and it's something that goes on like for like whole arcs that are in like a whole long set amount of time instead of a short season.
yeah,
But I mean, I don't know. And he's like, "Oh yeah, like the Doctor Who was always known as like the low budget sci-fi series, so you can bring that vibe kind of back." But I do wonder how well something like that would do nowadays.
yeah. I feel like if they're trying to do it for less money, an easy way to do that is to just have a lot more serials instead of like single episodes.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
So
That
back
way
to the
you can
classic
have,
format, basically. Yeah.
you have the same cast for like 4 episodes in a row, and you have
Yeah.
like the same sets you're using and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that would probably mean you get like 2 serials a year, maybe 3, depending on how many episodes there.
Yeah, that's what's tough about it, right? Like it's hard to say how many stories you'll be able to tell during that. But like what's really like baffling about that structure is while it's proven it can work from, the classics and all, um I don't know what like a budget for that would look like nowadays. Like,
Yeah,
even like thinking of what my husband was saying of, what if you did it like Common Rider, and you keep it low budget. I still feel like the fact that it is a sci-fi series, and it's so heavily needs to go to other locations, and nowadays you do need some sort of effects for a lot of the sci-fi stuff. I feel like going back to really low budget would only hurt it and make it look too cheap and not really bring in a new audience and only retain the dedicated fans. So it's hard to
yeah.
say.
And I guess ultimately it depends on like who they're gonna go with for new producers, because like theoretically speaking, the new producers could be like Netflix, and then Netflix is just gonna fund it. Or theoretically, they just go for like a small production team in Great Britain, and then
Hmm.
they just go to AMC Plus and say like, "Hey, for a little bit more money, we'll give you the new stuff too," and then we'll use that money to fund the show.
That's
Because yeah,
true.
right now they're looking for producers rather than a distributor, and then I
Hmm.
feel like if they're gonna have a production team that can't do the distribution, then they'll probably just go to AMC Plus because they already have a
Yeah.
deal there. They'll probably at least get first dibs on it.
Yeah, they probably get first dibs on, hey, do you want to handle international distribution for a new series? And they go from there. And,
Yeah,
and if they say no, then BBC takes it elsewhere to try to see where it goes. It's tough because I
yeah,
feel like after what happened with Disney, I don't know what big company is going to be like really trying to get it, you know? And I feel
yeah,
like even beyond like the big companies for the production teams, I feel like they also just need to find the new person to take over RTD. The new executive producer for the show. I think that's where they need to get the pitches from, because ultimately, a bigger company taking it on is not going to solve that problem. It's just going to mean balls in their court. Whereas I think
yeah.
actually finding an executive producer, and then BBC works with that executive producer to try and find who's going to handle production with them. But I don't know. It's bizarre because this shouldn't feel that bad because this kind of thing has happened before in general, but it's the fact that it's going to lead to another hiatus of God knows how long.
Yeah. And ultimately, this is, it's in the worst spot it has been in since 2005,
Yes.
because they have always just handed it off to a new person, and they're just not just immediately handing it off to someone right now.
Hmm.
Although I think ultimately for the longevity of the show, this is definitely the better approach than just having it be Russell T Davies picks one of his friends to give it to, and then his friend picks their other friend, and then it just keeps going around the same group of people.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have finally have like fresh blood in Doctor Who, because the showrunners for Modern Who so far have all been people that have been involved in the show for 20 years,
Yeah.
and I think at some point you need to just have younger people
Yeah.
who are newer to
That's
the IP.
that's really my hope, right? That what we get are people that grew up on, the revival of the show, that are now old enough to do these things and are excited and passionate to do these things. They have stories to tell. They want to see this IP thrive. I want it to be done out of passion and excitement, and not because someone sees the dollar signs in their eyes.
Yeah,
I'm
I guess
really afraid of the
ultimately
potential
we
of how
just have.
AI would affect it nowadays too, because it goes out like this. That's my other
Yeah,
thing I'm really afraid of: the wrong person getting it and going all in on AI.
yeah, and there's always like there's the fact that the political landscape of Great Britain is pretty terrible right now.
Yeah.
So a lot of the creatives there might have some bad viewpoints. Well, I like specifically the in Great Britain, the political landscape for trans people is really bad. So that's
Yeah.
specifically the politics you have to worry about.
It's oh god, yeah. It's not gonna be.
I hope
It's
that
not gonna be smooth.
I hope the BBC knows that like the people online that complain that Doctor Who is too woke are the people that would never watch the show anyways. So like those aren't the people you want to make the new producers want to bring back, because
God,
they're never going to like it no matter what you do.
we can only hope.
The people that like Doctor Who are the people that like that it's woke, you know?
And it always has been.
Yeah. Yeah, it could go really badly, or maybe they'll. Hopefully, they understand, like, the people who actually likes Doctor Who,
Yeah.
and they go in the right direction there.
I I kind of hope in this interim time, I hope we see something with Billy Piper in the role of the Doctor done in like comics or like Big Finish or something,
Yeah,
because I think that's also a way they could really do that. Uh, they can really play around with silly ideas, and even if they can't get her physically to film something with them for like an actual TV episode, that's fine. They could do some sort of fun audio stories playing off of this.
yeah,
Maybe a new showrunner in the future would actually work to incorporate stuff from Big Finish. Who knows? Um,
yeah.
I want to be optimistic, and I'm absolutely doing my best to be optimistic with it. But it's like I guess this is how people felt when the classics got canceled, huh?
Yeah, because with Classic Who, they never officially actually canceled it. They just kept saying, like, we're going to greenlight a new series later. And then they
Yeah,
kept saying later.
yeah.
And then it was 3 years later. And then that was when they started saying Sylvester McCoy is the former Doctor.
Mm,
So, it's kind of a similar situation where they have pushed back when it's coming back a couple times now.
yeah,
So it's similar. Although the difference, obviously, is that with Classic Who, they had a production team that wanted to make it, but the BBC didn't want to make it. And now the issue is that they don't have a production team, but the BBC at least is saying they want to make it. So it's kind of the opposite. But it's a very similar feeling.
yeah, yeah. Out of curiosity, our journey through Classic Who, specifically to Classic Who, I know we've entertained the idea of what if we end up doing more than just Classic Who. Would we be done but before the show even comes back at this rate?
Yeah, I feel like we have roughly a year left
Oh
of Classic Who.
God.
So, because like Tom Baker is the longest one, and then
Yeah.
after that, there's only like 7 seasons after him, I think. Maybe 8. Yeah, there's 8 seasons after him, and it's taken us about a year to get through the seventh of the Fourth Doctor. So we probably have about a year left.
Oh boy. Yeah, I definitely think then if there's no news on this by the time we're done with the classics, that's when I'm gonna start feeling more despair, I have to admit.
Yeah. Well, technically, there will be new Doctor Who next year, but it will be the preschooler show.
Yeah.
Because that is supposed to be one season in 2027 and one season in 2028. So
Very
technically there
silly.
will be some new Doctor Who, but it's a preschooler show, so we'll have to see how well that goes for other people liking it.
Probably very poorly, to be honest.
Like sometimes there's shows like Bluey that adults say is actually good from an adult perspective, but
Yeah.
most preschooler shows aren't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I'm
tough
at
to
least
say.
glad that there's Big Finish and stuff though.
Yeah.
We have the Fugitive Doctor Circuit Breaker stuff is all this year, so I have that to look forward to, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm currently listening to all the Ninth Doctor and 13th Doctor stories coming out.
Yeah. There is more than enough Doctor Who classics and multimedia to fill out the time between this announcement and whenever the show actually comes back.
Yeah.
And hey, if you started watching classic Doctor Who right when they announced this, the show might be bad before you finish, or you'll finish just in time for the show to come back. You'll have plenty of
Yep.
Doctor Who, trust me.
Yeah, if people listening to this are not familiar with us, we have a podcast here where we're watching all of Doctor Who, or all of classic Doctor Who. We're currently on season 17, which is the second last of the fourth Doctor. So if you want to join us, you can start watching there. It's not a bad spot to jump on because it's kind of not super related to stuff that happened before, other
Yeah.
than the companion is Romana, who is a time lady who was with the Doctor in season 16, but then she regenerates at the beginning of season 17, and then
For no reason.
like the plot of season 16 hasn't been mentioned yet in season 17, so you don't really need to know that much about it. And then we also have K9 with us, although he sounds a bit weird right now.
We'll
He
get
has
into
a
that
different
when
voice actor.
we'll get into that when we actually record our next
Yeah.
episodes more.
Yeah, if you want to watch Classic Who, we have like roughly a year left of Classic Who, and you can join us on that journey. Yeah, I'm hoping we get, like, I would say I hope we get news about this soon, but I guess like the earliest we're gonna get is like maybe in December we'll hear who the new production team is.
Yeah, I think we'll hear them announce details for what the competitive tender is actually going to be like probably by end of this month, but
Yeah,
then it's just going to be a matter of what's actually getting heard. You're going to see all the Doctor Who YouTubers having new rumors every week of oh, this production company might be the one taking over. Oh, this production company might be the one taking over. Here's what they pitched, and it's like all fake.
yeah.
So get ready for
The
that.
one
I guess.
interesting thing to note will be when they put out the competitive tender. Obviously, we'll be able to see like what form they want the show to take.
True.
Because, like, with the CBBS spin-off, for example, they said they wanted 52 episodes of 11-minute or 52 11-minute episodes. So, like, we will see, like, they might say, like, we want an 8-episode season with a Christmas special or something like that.
God, I hope we
Or
go
it might
back
just
to
be
like
very
12
vague
episodes.
and just say, like, it could be vague and just say, like, whatever, the people that are pitching are going to be deciding that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And it might indicate like Doctor Who has previously been, and then lists all the different formats and be like, we are open to revisiting any of these structures, pending the pitch.
I think best case scenario, maybe we get a Christmas special next year, but that's maybe being optimistic.
That's a bit optimistic. It would be nice, but I'm not gonna hold out hope considering this Christmas special. They announced it with the intent of not having to make it. It sounded like that's
I
what,
feel
that's what
like
kind of pissed me off about this one.
probably what happened is Disney told BBC, "Hey, we're out," and then BBC probably just like immediately went to Russell Davis and was like, "Hey, would you do a Christmas special next year just so we can have an announcement in there?" And at that point, he probably said yes, and then it was probably just he kept pitching ideas and they didn't like any of his ideas.
Yeah.
So like before they announced it, it was probably just the vague like we want an episode next year, and then it just never worked.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate. I would have rather they never announced the Christmas special until they guaranteed it was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say about this.
The only other thing I have is I really hope going forward, if RTD ever goes out to like conventions or interviews, I want him to talk about what his plans were. What would have happened
Yeah.
if he got to continue? What would have the potential season 3 have been? Potential season 3 with Shooty have been? What was the vision with Caroline Ford? Because unless he has passed those exact notes on to the BBC to hand off to whoever goes next, they're never going to come to fruition.
Yeah. And I think it would be fun if at some point Big Finish got to do Rose Tyler or, Billy Piper Doctor stuff.
Yes.
I feel like we're not going to get any of that until the next production team comes in and says what they want to do with
Yeah.
that. Because obviously it's their decision if she is the Doctor or at all.
That's true.
But
Actually,
yeah, it would be fun if they just like had her regenerate and then just said like, "Hey, Big Finish, you can use her right now."
that would be nice. Also, I
It's
retract what I said about RTD stuff never happening because they actually could just give that to Big Finish.
Yeah, I think RTD would be a good Big Finish writer if he wanted to do that.
I honestly see it. I see him. I feel like he loves Doctor Who enough that he will eventually do like a Big Finish series with like Shooty or like some other Doctor he's already written for, to get
Yeah.
more out of them, and that could be how you get another season of Shooty's Doctor. I mean, we're already seeing 13 get a whole new season and 9 get a whole new season. It's how they continued Torchwood after season 4. They did like 2 whole seasons worth of audio stories, and it's meant to be the official continuity. So they
Yeah.
definitely explored that kind of idea before.
And I think if you're a writer that really wants to bring back classic Who villains and stuff, I think you should be working with Big Finish, not on the show. Frankly. Because I think that's the place where you do that. That's the place where you tell stories about Sutek and Omega. And I mean, like, you can do it in the show, but I think the way that he approached it wasn't right for the show. But yeah, I guess we'll see if he ever even wants to go back in Doctor Who, because it doesn't sound like it was a good ending.
It does not sound like it was the best ending, no, which is very unfortunate. The only person out there happy because of it is Christopher Eccleston.
Yep. he's been begging for them to sack him, and now they have.
Yeah. Christopher
Maybe that
Eccleston
means they
is
can-
back as the 17th Doctor.
Yep. They can convince him to come back now.
God.
But yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say. So we have an episode of our podcast coming out on Saturday, which is about the first 2 stories of season 17. If anybody wants to listen along with us there. And yeah, I have been Joy. You can find me on social media at Joy Content.
And I've been Triss. You can find me at Toontriss.
Hopefully we will have more good news in the future.
Hopefully.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.